Hey everyone, Pastor Nat here with Win the Day, 5-minute discipleship to help you move closer to God. Today, we want to talk about rejecting notional Christianity. My wife was at a women's Bible study where the topic of reading books came up. Unfortunately, some of the women said how much they enjoyed reading the 50 Shades of Grey books. They enjoyed how much of the fantasy, the sexual fantasy that they experienced. Well, my wife, she challenged them by saying, you really shouldn't be reading that kind of junk. It distorts your mind. It's not pleasing to God. Well, unfortunately, she was dismissed as old-fashioned and not enjoying that grace of God. This sentiment, it's tragic, but it is far too common. Many professing Christians are what I would call notional believers. They believe in certain notions of Christ, but they act like non-believers. The question is, can a Christian function as an atheist and remain a Christian? Let's listen to the Apostle Paul's words in Philippians 1, beginning in verse 10. For I want you to understand what really matters, so that you may live pure and blameless lives until the day of Christ's return. May you always be filled with the fruit of your salvation, the righteous character produced in your life by Jesus Christ. For this will bring much glory and praise to God. Paul's words bring a lot of clarity to a confused Christian church. There's this false teaching today of what I call cheap grace. But God's grace? It's not cheap. Yes, it is free for those whom He chooses, but it comes at a price. Remember, Paul began his letter by referring to himself as a bondservant, a slave of Christ. Slaves are not free to do as they want, but rather to do the will of their master. Paul encourages the Philippian church and us today to understand what really matters, or as the ESV rightly translates it, so that you may approve what is excellent. We as Christians are not to approve of what God disapproves. We should not call something good that God says is bad. But too many people today, they do this both subtly and boldly. What you watch, listen to, and do is a direct reflection of what you truly believe. God says you are called to pursue and endorse what is right, pure, blameless, and good. Why? So that we might be formed or shaped by it. We are called to live lives that are pure and blameless. Now, does this mean that we are called to be perfect? Well, we know we're not going to do it perfectly. But I think we should aim for that blameless life. You see, that's the fruit of our salvation. A soul saved and a life changed. A life that displays Christ in us. So here's my challenge for you today. Purge. What is it in your life today that you've affirmed or consumed that is contrary to God's best? We all compromise from time to time. So where is it for you that you need to purge? Is it the shows that you're watching on Netflix or on Amazon Prime? Is it the books that you're listening to or reading? Is it the video games that you play? Is it the videos that you watch when you're alone? We are all just one click away from something destructive and ungodly. The question is, will we consume it? Will we be shaped by it? Paul's encouragement is pursue godliness. Pursue God's best. When we live pure and blameless lives, we will win the day.